Hello, today we will be talking about heredity, how genes are passed, Mendelian genetics, how to use Punnett squares, talking over incomplete dominance sex-linked genes, and overall how to do advanced Punnett squares. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something from this. A geneticist named Mendel used pea plants to figure out how heredity actually worked. At his time, it was believed that offspring were a blend of their parents. However, after breeding pea plants, he learned this was not the case. He realized traits interact through dominant and recessive alleles. Alleles are versions of a trait. For example, hair color is a trait, while blonde and red hair are alleles. At the most basic level, you gain an allele from each parent. Two dominant alleles are placed by a capital letter or homozygous dominance result in the dominant trait being expressed. A dominant and recessive allele, or capital and non-capital letter, or heterozygous, results in the dominant trait expressed. And finally, two recessive alleles, or homozygous recessive, results in the recessive trait being expressed. This all sounds complicated, but the use of Punnett squares, it's pretty easy to see the probability of certain phenotypes and determine the ratios of different alleles, and how to determine what the possibility is of a certain trait being passed down. On screen, you can see how different allele combinations result in different names and different traits being expressed. Coming into AP Bio, many of you already know how to use Punnett squares. This is a review, but also a more in-depth explanation. Here, we will look at examples of flowers and the trait of flower colors. The goal of Punnett squares is to determine the probability of a certain trait. We can see the first is heterozygous and the other plant is homozygous recessive. Red is the dominant and pink is the recessive, one we can see based on the allele combinations. To start, create a 2x2 box, then place the parent traits on the top two boxes and the side of the left two boxes. Then combine the alleles in each box on the top and the left. This will leave you with 4 new offspring combinations. For this example specifically, half of them will be heterozygous and half will be homozygous recessive. This means there's a 50% chance for a flower to be red and a 50% chance for the flower to be pink. Take a minute here to look at this example and see if you can solve another one on your own. There will be times when there are 2 traits you need to solve for. For example, there will be plant color or stem height. In these cases, you can make 2 Punnett squares and you can multiply the probabilities of both in order to determine what the outcomes could be for possible offsprings of both traits. In this case, we get 1/2 red, 1/2 pink, and then for the stems, 1/2 tall and 1/2 short. All you have to do is multiply each probability, and with this will leave you with 1/4 chance of them being tall and red, a 1/4 chance of them being tall and pink, a 1/4 chance of being them short and red, and so on. Mendel also discovered another type of heredity, incomplete dominance. In this case, the heterozygous combination will result in a 3rd new phenotype. This can either be a blend of the other 2 alleles or something new altogether. In this example I've shown, there is a red and pink as normal, and then for the heterozygous mix, for incomplete dominance, it'll end up being green. In these cases, it's pretty much the same, but whenever you get a heterozygous individual, this means they'll be green, or the 3rd new phenotype. For this trait, we can see a 1/4 of them will be homozygous recessive, a 1/4 homozygous dominant, and 1/2 heterozygous. In this case, 1/4 will be red, 1/4 will be pink, and 1/2 will be green because the heterozygous represents the 3rd new allele. Another type of heredity are sex-linked traits. These work a little differently than what we're used to. Sex-linked traits are specifically linked to the X and Y chromosomes or the gender-determining traits. They include a specific genetic diseases or a variety of things. The core of sex-linked Punnett squares is understanding the connection between gender and chromosomes. 2 X chromosomes result in a female, and an X and a Y chromosome result in a male. A female has 2 X chromosomes, meaning it'll take 2 alleles into account, allowing for heterozygous and homozygous combinations as well. However, males only have 1 X chromosome, meaning they only get 1 allele, which means whatever allele they get is the one they express, whether it's recessive or dominant. For this example, we'll use color blindness. Color blindness will be a recessive disorder that is labeled as lowercase cc. We will use the colorblind mom and a normal vision dad. When crossing, we can see that the females or XX chromosomes are heterozygous, meaning they will not be colorblind. However, all the males or XY only have the recessive allele, meaning they will be colorblind. In the end, we can create a conclusion statement that all females born will not be colorblind and all males born will be colorblind. It's pretty easy to understand sex-linked traits, as it's mostly understanding what gender and what they all fall into. Thank you for watching. Remember, everything I went over talks about genes on the same chromosome. Remember that. Genes on a different chromosome can be explained in a different topic or another video that you can find online. Thank you.